Are you using maps or no?
Graphics, more theater of the mind, no maps.
All right, and we are live. So, welcome everybody to Chalice and Chains. My name is Sam. Today we've got a special one. We've got Genesys, which I am very happy about, and I'm more happy about the fact that we are going to be doing basically Blade Runner or something like it. And we've got Anthony, who is no stranger to the channel, happens to portray Ingot in the Sunday Sandbox game, the crazy droid. He'll be running the show for us today. So you can see from the overlay here, we've got 4 players. I will be playing Camila Winter. We will have Rory playing Dish Lantine, our hacker. Cory will be playing Erie Inouye, the ex-cop. And Chris will be playing Michiko Corbin, the medic. And so without further ado, I'll let Anthony take it away.
All right, hey Sam, thanks for having me, and looking forward to introducing the audience here if they haven't seen the Genesys system. And we're going to be playing in the Blade Runner universe. And a little fun fact that most people don't know, but the Blade Runner universe and the Alien franchise universe are actually one and the same. So there's going to be kind of like a tiny bit of crossover if you're into that type of lore stuff there. So beginning here, I'm just going to have each one of you introduce your characters, kind of like why you're a Blade Runner, a little bit about your past, who you are, and then we'll jump right into the session here. So we'll start with Camila. The floor is yours.
All right. So not a lot's known about Camila, at least to her companions. I started working for the corpse and for ultimately the government as kind of a bruiser, a fixer a while back. I do have advanced combat training and some cybernetic training. But the thing that probably people don't know is that Camila has a son, and that basically what she does, she's doing everything to try to get him out of the life, out of the slums, out of this corporate dystopia that she can't escape from. She is cold as ice, hard as nails, and will fuck you up and won't ask any questions. Ruthlessly efficient and does not dick around.
Awesome. So look forward to that. And then we'll go over to Cory's character, Erie.
Or not.
Cory, you there? You want to introduce your
it's way down window. Sorry. Yeah, so I'm playing Erie Inouye tonight. She is an ex-cop. Worked for the local, per se, PD. And this takes place in future LA, is that correct?
That is correct. It's
Okay.
the year 2023 to be exact.
2023, okay. So yeah, future, LAPD, well decorated, until that one day. And she did her job, and she was the fall girl to a conspiracy that they put her at the forefront of, and she lost her job. And not wanting to leave that life, she looked into. She always admired the Blade Runners because they got to work outside the law, and that's really, really attractive to her. I see her as a very new Blade Runner, maybe even out on her first job.
Nice. Awesome. Hopefully she survives it. I'm sure she will. Ex-cop. They'll do well. Next, we got Rory with Dish.
Hey, yeah, so I am playing Dish Lantine, who is a hacker in her mid-20s. Dish is a smart, healthy, good example of someone who could get off planet but unfortunately, her sister has some genetic disorders that would make getting her off a bit more difficult. She had some choices early on in how to use her skills, and when the offer was made, and perhaps it's a lie, perhaps it's not, but when the Blade Runner said they could possibly get her sister off planet with her if she did enough work for them, she decided to sign on, and here she is.
Awesome. And that brings us to our last and final player here, Chris, with Michiko.
Yeah, Michiko Corbin is a medic. She's first and foremost a medic. She came up through the military, and she had somebody she was very, very close to who decided to go off world and was taken out by replicants. So she vowed to eradicate them and became a Blade Runner. And so she's a bit of a no-nonsense when it comes to the replicants, but she's pretty soft-hearted when it comes to humans. So should be an interesting mix.
Nice. So, all right, we're going to begin here. I'm going to set the scene for everybody. So this is Los Angeles, the year's 2023. Although in the Blade Runner universe, they're a little bit more advanced than like we're probably going to be in 2023. So just the time difference is a little bit noticeable in that universe. Now, the city is completely like, smog-ridden, over-polluted. Just like there's rain all the time. It's very dreary kind of place. A lot of Asian influence in this specific setting in the city of Los Angeles. And you do know a little bit of background. So the first Blade Runner took place, I believe it's 2017, 2018. And that's the one with Harrison Ford. In the year 2020, in that universe, there was what's called the blackout. And that is where all information regarding replicants was eradicated. Like there was a big EMP blast that went into the headquarters of the Tyrell Corporation, which makes replicants, and all the databases in LA, and it just like fried them. So there's not really any records on replicants anymore, except if they're like hard copy documents or some rare type of hard drives that were not affected. In this world, there is planetary travel, but it's not like Star Wars where they go hyperspace. It's more like you go in, like the Aliens movie, you go into a sleep and you arrive months or years later at your destination. So that's a little bit about the world. And I'm going to put you guys here. You arrive here in the city of LA. Let me change up here's our, so the group of you, the four of you, may or may not have worked together. I don't know if you guys want to relate that information with your characters. It's up to you. But what you do share in common right now is that the four of you have been specifically assigned to meet with Peter Weyland. I'm going to bring him up here. Peter Weyland is like a multi-billionaire. He's like the Elon Musk of this world, very technologically savvy. He founded the Weyland Corporation, which is this massive technological firm. I'm going to put up this little handout for you guys as well if you want to read that. And he recently gave a TED Talk, just last month, as a matter of fact, talking about he has discovered a way to make cybernetic beings, an AI that's capable of replicating human emotions, and he calls this AI. He says his first one is called David, and he is asked to talk to the four of you. You really don't know why, but your like assignment officer back at the station, they've given you your orders to kind of go there and seek him out. But you find yourself in the middle of the city. The four of you, I'll let you do a little discussion, and you guys can pretty much go wherever you want. You do know that the Weyland Corporation's headquarters is located in downtown. And I'm going to give you guys I'm going to give you another handout here. And I'm going to bring you guys to a to a map, kind of the locations that you'd like to go to. And I'll bring out your little markers here for people to see. So floor is yours. What are you guys doing?
I think that I would be sitting back, waiting, just surveying the team, kind of watching, especially to see what Erie does, because I feel like Erie's the newest member of the team. Or even if there isn't a team, maybe perhaps this is the first time we've worked with her. And so I'm definitely like sizing her up and trying to figure out if she's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and Erie's been there far longer than any of everybody else. Being a police officer, you arrive early and you stay late. So she's kind of sitting off maybe on a bench per se, but like just sitting on it. That's not really a bench. It's just kind of the architecture of the front of the building, and she's sitting there cross-legged and trying to blend in. It's not something she's really been able to do for a long time with blue.
What would Dish and Michiko be doing?
Dish has a small kind of, I don't know what it's called here, but like a pad computer. And she's just basically cracking away at these keys and not quite sure what she's doing. She just seems to be scrolling through things rapidly, pausing for a second, reading something, click, 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 pause, looking up briefly, scanning the room, but not paying much attention to the others, and then looking back down.
I think Michiko kind of is the last one to arrive. She's kind of rushing in, and she's a little out of sorts, for running late. And she walks in and assesses all of you, and kind of looks around expecting something to be happening already, thinking she's later than she really is, maybe.
And I think as she comes in, I'm surveying the scene, and I have these like glasses with the transparent lenses on them or whatever, but it's technically like a heads up display, and it's reading her vitals and seeing like basically she ran here, and I kind of walk over to her and I would say, not a good sign that you're late, Doctor.
I know it's always me, right? But I'm here now. Let's get down to business.
So real quick, while you're all there, I want each one of you to roll a perception, and I'm just going to add 2 difficulty here, just straight up. Just a perception roll for me. And I'm going to go with the person who gets the overall highest here. Okay, so far, Erie. Ooh, with the triumph. All right, Erie, you see something out that catches your eye in this city district. Like, what is it that you're seeing right now? Something that might just catch Erie's eye.
Yeah, so there. So Erie's again been sitting there, and she, for the first time, can wear casual clothes. She can wear what she likes to wear, and when she's working, even. So, but then like a half a block away, I imagine maybe there's like a big long street that this building, ends at. She can see those ever present red and blue lights, and they're coming towards us. And it just looks so familiar that she kind of perks up and looks at attention a little bit as she's gazing and sees the other three kind of in the foreground of her vision. But she's certainly paying attention to the LAPD that is coming up the road towards her.
Okay, so you guys see a police spinner, what's they're called, an LAPD squad car. It's coming up the way there, lights blaring. Erie at first is like notice it from way off in the distance until the sirens get a little louder, and it kind of hovers down, and there's this like little restaurant, like a little Asian noodle stand kind of deal that's going on, and you see a detective step out of the spinner. He looks like this. Erie, this person looks familiar to you. You would recognize him. How would you have recognized this individual?
Yeah, his name is Jet. That's his first name, but his last name is Malloy, and it's a rival of hers per se. Erie is very good at her job. She was, very close to making detective, and he is a detective. And always gave her shit because there's no reason for a pink-haired woman to first off be in the force, yet less, a girl detective, please. And
the last question I have for you: what kind of cop would he be?
What kind of cop?
Like a by the book, a rough and tumble,
Oh no, he's a rough and tumble douche cop.
Okay, so you guys are watching this. You see the spinner come down to a stop. He steps out rapidly, and you see him grab the man who's serving noodles. This is elderly Asian man, possibly looks like he's probably Chinese. And the detective Malloy, he grabs this guy he just walks up. And he just grabs him by the back of the head and he slams his head into the little food cart and he throws him on the floor. And you guys can kind of hear him from a distance. And he says, "Where is he? I know where he's at. You got to show me your information now. I'm taking you down to the station. This is the last freaking time." And he pulls out his gun and he cocks it. And he has it pointed at the guy's face. And the crowd's kind of like gathering around. There's two other officers with him that are kind of like in this riot armor, all black. And you guys want to do anything, or are you just gonna let him sit there? The Asian man's like, "Please don't hurt me. No, I don't mean no harm, please." And he has like a little paper he pulls out of his pocket. It's all dirtied and nasty. It looks like some type of like business license.
Yeah. Erie perks up at that point and goes, "Yeah, it's you're the three I'm meeting here today for this first job, right?" She looks a little timid.
And
Michiko's kind of watching that situation. She's wondering what that guy is going to do to that old man, and kind of we're assessing the old man's condition, and wanting to keep an eye on that. And so she just kind of absentmindedly nods and goes, yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. So she hops off the little ledge per se and approaches the three of you who have already gathered, because I'm assuming you know each other. And that's Malloy. He's the biggest dick on the force.
"I'm not going to tell you again," he yells. And now he kicks the man in the stomach. And the man kind of like coughs up. And he pulls out a baton and he whacks him on the chest with it. And Michiko, based off your medical training, you can see that the elderly Asian man. He's gonna probably go into like some type of shock if nothing's done.
I rush over there.
As you try to rush over there, I won't actively stop you, but I will put my hand up and put it against your shoulder and say, Michiko, we do not need to get involved with the cops, please. We have a mission elsewhere. And sorry, I changed accents because I can't do the other accent consistently.
Totally fine.
Dish is going to be kind of simultaneously. She slams the top of this pad down, kind of shutting it off, and sighs. I can't focus. I can't do anything with all of this police work going on. Jeez. Anyway, are we all here?
That's something that we should get involved in.
But look what he's doing, Camila. He's hurting that old man.
It's what he does there.
He's gonna kill him.
We have a job to do. He is not our job. Let's go.
Please, no. And you hear the old man, I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. Help. And then you see him kind of like choking up, and Malloy, he grabs the guy up from like the collar of his shirt, and he says, "You're getting in a squad car, and I don't care if you die on the way." And he says to the two other policemen, "Put him in cuffs." And they put him in cuffs, and they start kind of walking him to the car, and he's like, and he starts to like hyperventilate as they're walking him to the back of the squad car.
Yeah, Erie steps forward and goes, "Hey, you don't have to."
Well, look who it is. Blade Runner now. Of course. Couldn't cut it in a real law enforcement job. He kind of sees you and he sizes you up. And the two guards, the other two cops, are like walking the Asian man into the back of the squad car. Now he's kind of like, you see his feet are kind of like dragging as they're pulling him into the car. They're going to like slump him inside.
Michiko's trying to film this on her cell phone. Whatever passes for that in this future, you know. Like from the minute that Camila kind of convinced her not to go, she kind of covertly pulled this thing out, and she's been filming what the guy's doing.
And I think as she does that, I would Camila would go over to Dish, and I would kind of like grab her arm and start pulling her over towards a building away from the scene. And there's a like a dry cleaning shop, just like a couple, feet away from us. It's all closed at this point. And I think what I would do is I would say, listen, if you need some time to do what you're doing, let us go in here. Maybe you can find out what this cop is doing and where he's going. It seems like that one. And I kind of motion my head over to Ari. Has to put her foot in it already.
Yeah, so Malloy, it's always got to be this way with you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I bested you at the academy, and now here I am, detective, and you're not. And he kind of snaps his fingers at the two cops. They open up the spinner, and they chuck the old Asian man in. And as they close the door, Michiko, you see his feet, like, they look like they're spasming or something inside. And Malloy turns to you and says, "Listen, Ari, I don't got time for this crap, all right? If you got an issue, you can bring it up at the station. I got business, real business to attend to."
Beating up on old men is your business?
Yeah, with food cart guys.
He turns to Michiko and he kind of squints his eyes a little bit and he says, "Listen there, Blade Runner. Don't you got some replicants to hunt down?"
Yeah, it's because you can't. And she just turns away and starts walking towards where she saw the other two walk off to. She's not giving any more time today.
And he kind of, with that, he walks off into the spinner, and you see the spinner take back off into the air and disappear.
I go over and give my phone to Dish so that she can send that video somewhere fast.
I mean, I would think unless Dish resisted, I think we would have gone into the dry cleaning shop at this point. I don't know if, I mean, you guys tell me, but I don't know if if Michiko or Eri would even know where we are.
So I just walked in the direction you guys went. You know what I mean?
Look around. Where'd they disappear to so fast?
Yeah, so I would say that they're walking down this in the direction you guys went, but you are in a closed down dry cleaning shop.
Yep.
Dish is going to be hanging at the door, kind of like with her arm wrapped around the inside, kind of leaning out, and just kind of waving her hand to get the attention of Michiko and Eri as they walk up the road.
So, looking for that and spotting it, I duck, grab Eri and duck inside.
So this is, as you guys know, I used to do that job, and it's my first time being out with the runners, and that guy's just a big dick. What he does.
Can I give you a tip? When you're with the runners, try not to poke your nose into police business. That's nothing but trouble, and we don't need it.
Okay. It's just hard to get away from, you know?
No, I don't. I've never been a cop. And she kind of walks off. Just kind of like, let's go.
So I kind of quickly catch up to you and pass my phone off to you. Hey, I got all that on video. You want to download that?
I could. Who exactly do you think will care?
Well, no, you never know when this stuff might come up.
It's not going to be the PD, sweetie.
If she hands it to me and kind of like presses it into my hand, I'll look at it and say, I'll give you a memory stick. Keep it on you if it makes you feel better.
That works. Thanks.
And so around this time, I'm assuming you guys have some electronic devices on you, like an iPhone equivalent or something like that, and it kind of like buzzes that you're like an hour. It's like an hour notification until your meeting with Peter Weyland, who is located in the downtown district, and you guys are kind of near that at this point.
I think as we get that notification, I would definitely be like, all right, ladies, let's go. Let's not waste any more time pissing off the local LAPD. I want to get there. I want to scope out the area, make sure there's no other threats, and then do business.
No argument from me. Any idea what this is supposed to be about?
I don't know, Anthony, do we have any intel on that, or was it just come and meet with me?
It's you know that he wants you to come meet with him, and you know that the only reason a Blade Runner would be given this type of request is there's probably a replicant involved somehow. And sometimes well-to-do people will, you know, since the blackout occurred and there's not really good record keeping, sometimes individual citizens like Peter Weyland may have a record of a replicant and kind of contact you guys to seek them out.
Yeah. And I think that when, you know, in response to Dish's question, I would just simply say a little bit with derision, replicant most likely.
And Dish will roll her eyes like exaggerated, you know, and, oh, well, geez, thanks for the intel.
You bet, sweetie. And I feel like there's probably this like mutual sort of, I don't know, disgust or distaste for each other. But then again, Camila pretty much hates everybody.
So as you guys are there, like discussing whether you want to go or not, you see this like a real dirty taxi cab driving up your way. And there's this guy, the driver, he's kind of yelling out. He's saying, Taxi cab for hire! Taxi cab! It's the best one in town! I go 5 over the speed limit. Woo!
It's too bad we're only allowed to shoot replicants.
Yeah, and I think like as Dish was saying that, she would see me pulling my Uzi out for a minute, and then as she says that, I kind of look at her and I look at the Uzi, and then I pop the magazine out and check it and start cleaning it, put it back in. I'm like, too bad indeed.
You two are really something else.
Listen, Doc, we don't need people like that. We got a business to do here. Let's just go. I assume you brought your own transportation. You didn't walk here in this rain, did you?
Oh, you know me. I walk everywhere.
You could use a story point if you guys want to say you have transportation.
I absolutely want to do that.
Best cab in town.
And would we have some? Would we have some?
Hey, you use a story point. You tell me what you have.
All right. So I definitely have like a badass motorcycle. I'm thinking like a black Kawasaki Ninja. You know, just like probably modified a little bit. I don't know if it can have any kind of hover capability, but I think maybe it won't.
I'm sorry, I just want to ask, would we have to spend like a story point per bike, or could we spend a story point to have at least 2 bikes so we have enough to carry 4 people?
I'll let Sam spent a story point, so it's his story point to spend. So I'll let him.
Okay, then
Sam can have a bike.
Yeah, so I think in that case, what
give him a dirty ratty bike for that.
So I've got like this really nice, like, you know, whatever, and I think actually that Dish has an even nicer bike, like really ridiculous, like, you know, some kind of beautiful like Ducati whatever. And then
if you don't mind, can I say it looks a little bit ratty.
Yeah.
But if you like look underneath, she's like a typical hacker. Like everything kind of looks piecemeal, but underneath the hood, it's actually pretty sick.
Yeah. And then I think that Ari has an old old squad car that, you know, where the siren's taken off and the paint or whatever. Yeah. But I'll say that it's got one of those like
it's a Queen Victoria.
Yeah, but it's got like a souped up engine, and so it's like stupid fast and has like armored armored doors or whatever. Yeah.
Cool. Love it. Oh, that's funny.
So you guys, if you you do have the location, like the GPS location of the building, so you would be able to drive there if you want.
Yeah, I think I probably would. I would just like look to Dish, look to Michiko, and I'll kind of grab my helmet and I'll say, "I'll meet you there," and I just pop it on and leave the building.
I look at Ari. Well, I guess I'm riding with you.
Well, looks like the two of them popped their helmets on, so looks like they're riding solo.
No, I didn't actually leave. I didn't say anything. I'm right here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you know what I mean. I got a cruiser. Go.
And before you go, he Dish just puts her hand on Michiko's shoulder and just hands over a flash drive. Like, it was just really fast, and like she has a flash drive and the phone in one hand. She just hands it over and goes, "Here's your video evidence. Meet you there." And she's gonna swing on her pack, which is like, so it's like her computer has like kind of like straps that can kind of pull out the back of it with like a case that comes like over it, so it like kind of turns into like a computer on her back. And she slides her arms through the slots and tightens the backpack tight, puts her helmet on, and follows behind you two, Michiko and Eri.
Nice. So as you guys head out to the downtown district, I'll bring you guys there now. and put some background music on, change it up. So the city is like hustle and bustle. You know, you guys are able to get there in about 20 or so minutes through the traffic. You pull up to the Weyland Corporation building, which has actually recently been built in LA. So this is like a secondary headquarters. And it's just a large ivory tower building. It's so you can see right there, like the Weyland Corp. It's the building like to the left of it, like over here. Just this massive structure, newly built, one of the newer ones in LA. And as you drive up to the bottom, there's this like pristine, like cul-de-sac. There's like doormen waiting. They kind of like come out, and there's a valet that gets your vehicle if you wish, and they take it to an underground parking facility. And they bring you inside like the concierge. And as you enter in this building, you are greeted by this man here, who looks to be kind of almost impeccably, like his every hair is in place. He's got very handsome features. He seems to be very athletic build, almost like he doesn't have any body fat on him. And he walks towards you all as the four of you are gathered into the lobby there. And he says, yes, greetings. My name is David. I am Mr. Weyland's personal assistant. I am glad to see you've arrived on time. And he talks, but there's something a little weird about him. I'm going to allow you all to do another perception here, and I'm going to give you guys a boost die because you're Blade Runners and you're used to dealing with people. But it's against 2 purple, so just roll perception. Oh, nice. Nice. And Dish is the last one that I need. But Eerie looks like she sees a lot.
Sorry, I was
it's fine.
on weapons. I have to go back over to skills.
Yeah. So since the 3 of you succeeded so far, we'll wait for Dish's roll. But okay, so everybody here succeeded, and some of you even have advantage. But what is a tick? Like, what? I'm gonna go just start from the top. Camila, go down just real quick. What is up with this guy that's kind of weirding you out?
I think that his eyes don't blink as often as most people's do. I think that, you know, I'm just like looking at him. I'm kind of sitting back. I'm not saying anything. I'm watching him, and everything else about him is just immaculate and perfect, right? But his eyes just don't like, I don't see them blink. And I assume they do, but I don't see it, and it's starting to like freak me out. And, you know, I don't know if that is something that would tip me off to him not being entirely human, or if it's something else, but yeah, that's freaking me out.
Nice. Eerie. What's kind of weirding you out about him? You there, Cory? Well, we'll go to Michiko.
No, I'm here. I was talking to you for like a minute there. It was great. I had some great content.
So what was it?
Yeah. So as I was saying, Eerie, just getting out of training, and anything that she's heard about for months, even maybe, because we're replicants and so on and so forth. She notices something strange about this person, and as has already been said, he's not blinking, and I'd like to use those to advantage to learn a strength or flaw about the target character.
Ooh. So a flaw, let me see, a flaw you would kind of identify, a strength, I'll do a strength instead. You notice that as each one of you are like walking up, you as a former police officer, you see him scanning you with his eyes, but like a detective would be trained at how to scan and look for threats. He's doing it very, 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 very rapidly. Probably like 10 times as fast as you've seen like the most proficient detectives be able to do. So he's definitely like scanning you.
She holds that information inside and kind of just stands there and smiles.
Okay. And Michiko.
So to Michiko's eye, his posture's just a little too perfect, and he's lacking that fluidity of movement. He's just a little too stiff, and her eyes narrow as she watches him. She is not. Her teeth are already set on edge.
Nice. And last Dish.
Dish doesn't mind him. He doesn't irritate her. And he doesn't seem to confuse her, so therefore she knows he must not be a human. There is something off about this.
Nice. So he kind of looks at all of you and he goes, yes. We have much discussion before I introduce you to the great Peter Weyland. If you will, this way, please. And he kind of waves you towards a lift. The lift is made of glass, and you can see like 360 degrees around. And he, do you guys go in it with him?
How much time had passed in that?
That interaction, a few minutes, maybe like 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Erie would grab onto Michiko's arm as I'm assuming we're going to follow, because she does. He didn't blink once.
That's not all he's not doing.
Yeah, and it also didn't look like he breathed. And it also, he was... You ever see that cop thing? Like, where people are, like, looking around the room and taking everything in real fast? I've never seen anybody be able to do that many scans at once. That's not a human being.
Yeah, he's not like anything I've ever seen either. But
it's not a replicant.
Can't be real. He's got to be. And my hand's kind of itching, like kind of reaching, hesitating and hovering over my where my weapon would be. Like,
okay,
I just kind of want to blow him away right now, and I'm trying to control myself because that's not what we've been assigned to do. So.
If he's asking basically for us to get into the elevator, I'll just go. I'll just walk in.
Okay. So,
yeah,
you guys kind of gather in.
Follow as well. I'm sorry, I'm not doing. Okay. Yeah, and like I said, I think maybe the other kind of lagged a little bit, and Erie made that happen so that she could have that combo. I'm assuming the two talked on the car ride over, so she feels
right. But I think as you initially tugged on me, I kind of hesitated at first and then allowed myself to be led. But I kind of don't even really want to get in an elevator with him. Now I'm watching him close every minute that we're in there.
So you guys follow him into the elevators, right? Even reluctantly if needed. Okay. So you all get into the glass elevator, and he's standing there like he's by the buttons where you'd push. And he turns around kind of rather quickly, and he looks at Michiko, and he says, excuse me, I've forgotten my manners. How rude of me. Please, one moment. And he quickly steps out of the elevator, and the doors, they shut as he steps out, and you see like a red and it just says locked, and you can't hear though at this point, like it's almost like soundproof, but you see him right in front of the elevator. He's like waving at someone to come, and you see someone in like what would a butler, like a really fancy butler would be wearing, and he has 4 glasses of like champagne, and he brings it to David, and he hands it to him, and David steps back towards the elevator doors, and they open up again, and he steps inside, and he says, libations, of course. It's very rude. Mr. Weyland would be most unpleased if I did not share this with you. And he holds out the tray for you guys to take a glass.
No, thank you. I never work when when I never drink when we're working. But thank you.
It will settle the nerves for some.
Dish will take a glass and hold it.
Yeah, once again the same. And she kind of looks to the other 3 like, should I drink this?
And almost as an answer to that question, I would reach out, I would take the 1 glass, and I would just knock it back, just like, doing a shot or whatever, and then I would grab the other one that Michiko left there, and that one I'll start to sip on a little bit, and I just kind of hold it up and nod it, or kind of tilt it a little bit to Ari as if saying, "Yeah, go ahead and drink it."
What is Camila's experience with like drinking?
She has an experience with it. She's got lots of experience with it. She doesn't. She's probably a functional drunk.
Okay. So in your life, I'm sure you traveled somewhere exotic. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Where? Just like spitball something.
On planet or off planet, either.
Yeah, you tell me.
All right. I think that I've probably been did some extensive time in Asia, probably in Japan, in Hong Kong, and then I did take one short trip to Luna, the moon.
So you would know that this champagne, that it's like it may look like a champagne at first, but it's actually a sake that you actually encountered in Japan, and this is like top shelf, like Louis XIV equivalent, probably like dollars to shot ratio is like $1,000 a shot. That's how expensive this type of liquor is. So that this is very high end stuff.
Okay, and so then I would look to Ari, and I would be like, "Yes, drink that, enjoy it. It'll probably be the last time you do." Not and not ominously at all, but very bitchy. Like, you'll probably never be able to have something like this again.
Nice. And as you all are taking your drinks or not, he pushes he takes a little key card and he sticks it into the elevator, like those VIP elevators. And it starts to go up, and you see the floors like just zooming past you. And it's a tall building, probably like 200 floors. So, and the speed of the elevator has like that feel that like when you're going really fast, the gravity pulls you down a little bit as it jets upward. And as it goes up, it stops about 3/4 of the way up the building. It starts to slow down. And David begins to speak, and he says, Mr. Weyland would like you to observe as you can outside of the doors here through the transparent glass. And you look out, and the elevator slowly stops on a floor, and you see 2 other Davids. They're playing chess with one another. And he says, "You see, this is what Mr. Weyland has created. Beings unlike you've ever seen. We know that you are quite skilled with hunting down replicants. As you can see, I am not one of those, but I am not necessarily human either." And he then pushes a button again, and it goes up. And then you see like another David who's in a room by himself, and there's like these water paintings that are being flashed. And he's just kind of repeating, angels, death, love, heartbreak, sorrow. And he's... Yeah, go ahead.
As this next David, now this is like the 4th David, becomes visible and starts speaking all these things, Dish, who had kind of hesitated on the drink, now is kind of going to look around, and she just shakes her head and kicks the whole thing back.
Nice.
Kind of dealing with the absurdity.
So, the elevator begins to go back up. He turns to you and says, "Now this is quite new and advanced. So please, when Mr. Weyland engages you about it, I hope that you have an open mind with what he suggests can be the future." And with that, the elevator kind of stops and the doors they open up, and you see this large office suite that it's now about sunset, and it's a beautiful view. You're at the top of this building, 200 stories up, one of the tallest buildings in all of Los Angeles, and you see the sun cresting along the Pacific Ocean, throwing out a red hue, and you see this large leather chair that's looking out, and you see a man who's not sitting down, but he's kind of like in front of the chair, arms folded behind his back, and he's gazing out. And David walks forward, and he says, "Mr. Weyland, your guests are here." And with that, Mr. Weyland, you see him, he kind of puts his finger up as if to hush David, and he says, "Now there, David, I am watching for a moment what it is to be human on this great planet." And he counts. There's a pause of about 5 seconds as the sun just goes down a little bit more, and he puts his finger down and he turns to you and says, "Yes, my guests, please do make yourselves welcome." And he has he pushes a button on his desk, and the floor kind of retracts a little bit, and there's two double sofas that come out of the floor for you, and he walks towards his chair and he has his seat and he says, "Please do sit down, make yourselves comfortable, and we can begin discussing what it is I've brought you here for." What do you all do?
That would be nice. Dish mumbles, and she slides her computer peg off of her back and takes an end seat on the sofa with the computer lap.
Michiko just wanders, goes ahead and walks in and takes a seat, and she gives Mr. Weyland a level look and a nod.
And while you guys do that, also I'm interested. I'm going to ask each one of you this so we can kind of flavor the room. I'll start with Camila and work my way right. What do you guys see in this room that's kind of interesting?
I think that he has two large windows. One of them is, overlooking the bay, and there's the sunset and whatever. And then I think he's got another window that projects like an image, and it'll change, right? But it's all like these sort of like tropical locations all over the world. And it's just these beautiful scenes. And I think that like maybe it shows like these, like the local, indigenous animals and plants and stuff, just this beautiful like safari type thing. Impossible shots too. Like no human would have been able to take these shots. So it's probably some kind of like drone camera. And I think Camila would just be standing there transfixed at these images, just both the sort of red smog of Los Angeles contrasted with this beauty of this planet that probably has been destroyed on Earth. Like where these images came from, she doesn't even know, but they're beautiful.
Nice. I like it. Erie, what do you see in there?
Yeah, the thing that catches her eye is that, she's been very practical for the last, 10, 15 years that she's been a police officer, and there's nothing practical about this office. The thing that really catches her eye, though, is that when he talks about taking a seat, the seating wasn't there, and it rose to them.
Nice, I like that. So so you guys, where you were standing, like the seats kind of came out of the floor and went towards you?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I like that. Dish.
Dish doesn't really pay much attention to these things that have been pointed out so far. They're kind of novelty interest from her perspective. However, she does look and she sees a screen mounted to the wall about 3 feet, 3.5 feet off the ground. There's no desk in front of it, but that's not uncommon. Usually there are retractable desks in these sort of houses of the wealthy. But this looks like a computer screen. Somebody sits there and she kind of scans to see where the actual power to this machine is. The screen isn't it. She doesn't see anything right away because it escapes her. It looks like a column in the corner, like something that goes from the floor to the ceiling. It's a round cylindrical shape. Oh, like I said, almost looking like a architectural column, but it's not. And she notices that on the bottom there are the small words Yutani, Yutani, and it's a computer company that makes very, very high-scale technology, and a machine that large of Yutani make would be capable of doing some very serious computing.
Very cool. I like that. Definitely a good tie-in here, so you know your stuff. Michiko, last but not least, what do you see?
So Michiko's eye is drawn to a really beautiful piece of hand-blown glass. It's reminiscent of an age long past. It's a type of craftsmanship that you just don't see anymore. And it's in a niche in the wall, and it's absolutely perfectly lit. It looks like the ocean. You know, it has these beautiful ocean blues and greens in it. And it's this just absolutely gorgeous sculpture that looks like something just catches the eye. And it's so beautiful and just the kind of thing you just don't see.
Nice. So as you guys sit down there, you take your places, and you guys are observing this kind of magnificent room with all the great details you guys pointed out. And Mr. Weyland, he kind of like snaps his fingers, and you see that the beautiful tropical paradises turn into an image of like a human DNA strand. And he turns to you and says, "Do you know what this is?" And he's asking you all.
Yeah, that's DNA.
It is. It is what makes us mortal, what keeps us as human. As you can see, we are becoming much more than that. We are beginning to forge our own destiny, to forge our place in the universe amongst the gods of the old. As you can see, David here, he is my firstborn. He is a fully functional artificial intelligence that exists to be human. Now, you might be asking, what does that matter to you as a Blade Runner? Well, Tyrell Corporation and the rise of the replicants have seen the futility of using biological to sustain human life. The biological makeup of a human can only last so long before it deteriorates. Forever, mortals we are. However, with an artificial being and a cybernetic body, we can perhaps transcend the limits of mankind and move into a new future of existence. My research here has been very important to the future of humanity. But, alas, there is a relic of old that Tyrell's corporation was wise to find. Inside the replicant program, they were able to transfix memories, ideas, thoughts, consciousness. Although it might only have been a mere image of what was from another, it shows us the potential to transfer living memories into another vessel. And due to the blackout, there's very few replicants with the technology that I require to study, to make this future of ours a reality. And that is why you are here. I'm asking that you assist me in locating a rogue replicant that has gone off grid, off record. Locate her, bring her here, so that humankind may be bound no more by our mortal chains. And he pauses for a moment to hear what you guys have to say.
And I would have gone rigid when he started mentioning this. But I think I would have also realized, and I don't have any conscious memory of it happening, but I would have sat down on the couch at that point. I had been standing, transfixed by the images. And I think I would have gone and sat down next to Dish, and I'm just absolutely like rigid, and I can't speak. I'm just staring at this man. And I think Dish would probably know that, like, I'm agitated to the point that something might happen.
Let me get this straight. You want us to bring you a live replicant?
Yes.
You do realize that's not what we do, right?
Yeah, that's not at all what we do.
Of course. You retire them, and you shall be able to retire this one. I only need them here to extract the information I need. After that, you can go about your business and retire them.
I'm sorry. I feel like I have to ask a meta question before I can even process this. Who do we ultimately answer to? Like, if we were to get in trouble for something, who would we get in trouble from?
You're kind of like, think of it like, you know how bounty hunters in the U.S. are like certified by the state they're operating in. So they're not like an actual cop, but they're given some constitutional powers through their bounty hunter license. That's kind of like how you guys operate. So like you're licensed by the state to hunt down and retire replicants.
Okay, so then just one last piece of information on that. Are there any policies on the immediate retirement versus the non-immediate retirement of a replicant legally?
As long as they're retired, that's all you're concerned with.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm going to pause for a second and listen for a moment, but I needed to know that. Thank you.
So, I'm sure you know about all of us.
And he taps his computer, and on that big screen where the DNA was, you see like these files pop up and just like images of documents that you can see each one of your, like, you know, birth certificate, social, like all this stuff. And he goes, "Why, you've guessed correctly. I am a man who studies those in great detail when I am interested."
Yeah. So you then know that that's not gonna happen with us, I don't think.
And as she says that,
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Oh, I was just gonna say, as soon as she says that's not gonna happen with them, I would stand up, get up off the couch, and I would sort of, I would take a couple of steps near his desk and then realize the situation that I'm in, and I would stop and I would say, "Mr. Weyland, how much are you offering for this job?"
And he kind of cracks a smile when you say that. And he says, "Ah, yes. It depends what you are looking for. I can offer you a great many things. I can offer you money. I can offer you experiences. I can offer you a place beyond this planet. If you help me, I shall ensure all of your desires are met fully and beyond your imagination." And as you say that, he kind of had noticed Camila looking at those pictures before, and he pops them back up and he says, "Like this." And it's like a beautiful tropical paradise. And he says, off-planet in the LaRue sector. I'm sure you've heard of this place, but I can offer you the means there. And he flicks it again, and it's like a moon landscape, or L259, the far colony. I can offer you this as well. Weyland is setting up outposts in all of these locations.
Dish is going to stand up and walk over towards Weyland, and she's going to unfold a piece of paper. It's going to have a bunch of. It's going to be. It's going to look like a coded DNA sequence, and she's going to hold it up to him and say, "Do you know what this is?"
He's gonna eye it, and he's gonna say, "I'm not familiar. Do tell."
In your research, did it say anything about my sister?
And he pauses for a second, and he kind of, his eyes go to David, and he looks back at you, and he kind of like pushes back in his seat, and he says, "Well, of course, and of course it did." And he kind of taps his fingers on the table, and he pulls up his other hand, and you see it move over to a button that handles the big screen there, and he pushes it, and you see a photo of you and your sister from when you were like young, probably in your early teenage years, pop up, and then you see a smile crack on his face.
So she pushes the paper again, and she says, "This is what her genetic code looks like. Because of this, we can't go anywhere. I want this fixed, and her off this planet. That's all I want. You say yes, and I'll retire your replicant after a pit stop at your lab."
And he leans in and he says, "Well, of course, Dish. If that is what you want, then that is what you shall get. She shall be taken off planet to the place of your choice after the deed is done."
She nods her head. Yes, I will do it. And she walks back to the couch and doesn't sit down this time. She just leans against it and looks at the rest of the people in the room.
Okay, what about Iri and Michiko? What do you guys think?
Michiko was feeling pretty agitated until she witnessed that interchange between Dish and Mr. Weyland. And as Dish, walks away, her eyes soften, and she looks around to try to get a read on what Camilla's thinking at this point.
And I would wait at this point and kind of look back to Erie just to see, after Dish has said, "I'll do it." I hadn't made any commitment as of yet, but I want to see what Erie will do before I answer.
So Mr. Weyland, he kind of swivels his seat a little bit and he looks at Erie. "Unfortunate what happened in your case. Let off of the beat, as it were. We all know that your skill was much more than could do anything with. That is why I've called you here. You could do so much more for the Weyland Corp.
Are you offering me a job? Beyond this one?"
And he turns to, he kind of looks at everybody in the room, eyes kind of like dart quickly, and he glances at each one of these. He says, "Let me make myself clear. This is but a trial to ensure that you can do what I already know you're able to accomplish. And if you are successful, the means that the Blade Runners offer you will pale in comparison to anything Weyland can."
Wonderful. But the long question of this is, Mr. Weyland, is if we were to retire the replicant previous to bringing it here, would you still be able to extract the information?
He clenches his fist a little bit and he stands up like slowly from his chair and he puts both fists on the table and he says, "It is most important that the replicant is brought here alive. Any degradation to its cortex or its brain matter could be a loss for what I am seeking to do."
But what if it resists?
I am sure you have ways of subduing a replicant.
Why take this information from replicants? Why not from people as they're passing away naturally?
It has not been done on a human to transfer a conscious memory into one or another, but the Tyrell Corporation found a way to transfer consciousness, artificial or real, from a host to a replicant's body. Some replicants don't even know they're replicants because they have past imagined lives of a childhood, a mother and a father, that are nothing but relics of an engineer who created that memory for them. If we could find out how this is done, because the information's been lost, I can perhaps replicate it so that my cybernetic beings, such as David, can too be given implanted memories, but real ones, real personalities, real consciousness from live humans who can exist from cybernetic body to cybernetic body.
Well, then you may want to make it look like it breathes and blinks.
So your implication that this work may be ongoing for a while would be just until you mastered that technique.
This is correct. I just need a single replicant here to begin my and examinations. It will be retired, that's a matter that we discussed, but if you are successful again, I shall reward you greatly. And think about the world. We can change our whole existence, travel beyond the stars as we never could because of the limitations of time on our bodies.
You don't believe that we're meant to die at some point.
Ah, but you are wrong there, Michiko. I do believe men are meant to die, but I believe there are others, such as myself, who have created life, who should be seen as gods, and granted the gift of immortality.
Michiko kind of scowls at that. She's not real on board with the whole God idea.
Absolutely.
I think I would look to Mr. Weyland at this point, and after him saying that, I think I would definitely lock eyes with him for a minute, and realizing that I still have a little bit of that exceptional sake in my hand, I would take a slow drink as I walk closer and closer to his desk until he might be a little bit uncomfortable. I assume they let us bring our weapons in here. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't make any move to pull a weapon or anything, but I'm sure he knows that I'm armed and deadly. And so maybe as he starts to get just a little bit uncomfortable, I'll look at him and I say, "Why this replicant? What is it about this particular one that you need?"
So he was like, as you're walking up to him, he may have appeared to be a little bit, I don't know if nervous is right, or something was up. And he smiled. He says, "I believe you have something on your shoulder," and you feel like the slightest gracing on your shoulder, and you know that it's David, who's like, you don't know how he's like there, like you did not sense him or anything. And everybody else in the room saw him like in a blink of an eye. He just kind of like gracefully walked behind her, Camila, and he wiped. There's like a little thing of dust maybe that he wiped off of her shoulder, but ever so gently. And he says, this replicant was a stage 6 replicant. It exceeded Terrell's imagination. There was only one made. I have scoured the files at the Terrell Corporation and through the black markets and through the criminal networks to find out where this replicant was. There were those who sought to destroy all replicants, but I hope and I am lucky that this one survived. Her inability to understand that she is a replicant is what allows her to survive so long. She may believe she is human. She may sound and appear human. She may bleed as we bleed, but she is nothing more than a replicant. A false idol that has within her the gift of immortality for our species.
Or for you.
And he kind of looks at Eerie when he says that, and he just turns his gaze back to Camila.
And I think I would pause almost uncomfortably long, take the final draft of, off of this cup, put it down on his desk, and I would just look at him and I would say, fine, I'll bring this replicant to you. What information do you have? Where is he or she?
And he turns to Dish and he says, you can dock your data pad into the wall there. And he points to that column, and you can see there's an input where the Yatani Corporation emblem is. And he says, all the data you need will be uploaded there to her presumed whereabouts, what she looks like, and any other information you wish. You will have the entire dossier, as well as an agreement signed, encrypted, of course, between us.
And just to be clear, you said Nexus 6, correct?
That is correct.
Oh,
but it's important that, yes, while this one here could be quite deadly, she may not know she even is a replicant. I'm sure there are ways you can convince her to come see me, which may not be violent. So long as she is here, David will ensure she is taken care of, with your help if needed.
And I think as he says that, I would say to him, and what happens to your grand quest, to your goal for immortality, if she does not come back, if we are unsuccessful?
He pauses, and you can see he's contemplating. And he pushes a button on the console once more, and you see like this star chart that pops up, and you see a system many like travel years away if you were to travel there, and it's like kind of blinking. And he says, there are other ways to pursue immortality, Camila, but I would rather not test fate.
And I would simply nod and then turn and walk back to the couch.
Cool. So, Dish, do you upload the... Dish, you're muted. Not sure if you were talking or not.
Oh, I'm sorry, it actually cut out a little bit. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Did you, are you going to upload the information to your data pad?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I will take it and put it right in, bring it up on the screen.
And with that, Mr. Weyland says, it has been a pleasure and an honor, and I look forward to us making our world a better place tomorrow. And he says, David will see you out. For now, I must go. And he walks up to the wall and he puts his it, and you see a small scanner scan his hand, and then it like opens up this door that didn't even look like it was there, and then he walks through it and it shuts behind him. He just keeps walking. he doesn't stop. And then the door shuts, and it's just you and David in the room now. And we'll kind of scene fade real quick for a quick break. We'll do we'll convene again at 9:30. Is that good with you guys? 10-minute break for
Perfect.
drinks and snacks.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you guys think so far?
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Totally awful.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
What is the sound effect?
You're just mad that Weyland didn't.
What
It's
sound effect
Rachel,
did you use?
isn't it?
I don't think you're gonna do there, huh?
I don't think so. All right, I'll be back.
Be right back. Yeah, see you guys at 9:30.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, cool. Just making sure.
Yeah, I just think everybody talked to him once a year.
No worries. I actually turned on Spotify because the sound from my computer wasn't that good, and I was worried that it like cut out the connection for people hearing me or something. Just wanted to make sure.
It's not good, dude.
All right, I'm gonna get another can of Coke.
All right, have fun. I'll be back in a few.
All right.
Oh man, we got some Blade Runner up in here. This is great.
I like this, man. I like.
Does that mean
You know
it's coming through the Discord app? The Dino?
No, it's coming through Roll20. I turned it off until we start up again.
Wait, Roll20, but through your. Oh wait, was that just coming through your mic?
Nope. So Roll20 has a jukebox built into it. So if you have, like, I can run music and sound without requiring like any input or output type stuff. It's like the browser itself will run the music, if that makes sense.
Really cool. So I have a question, Anthony.
Yeah.
So as far as the replicants go, like, I would assume that there'd be records of like how many were manufactured and out in the world, right?
Yeah. So here's the lore on it. It's actually like a little for the new Blade Runner that came out. They actually have some like 10-minute videos they made, like a series of 3 that show all the big events that happened between the first movie and the third, which are second.
That one either.
No, yeah, which are cool to watch. I'll put up some links in. But so after Blade Runner 1, there was like a big, think of like a lot of humans were mad at the replicants. They were trying to kill them. So there's like an underground pro-replicant movement as well. And the pro-replicant movement, they went to the Tyrell Corporation and they used an EMP blast to like destroy all records of replicants. Because before they were like the Blade Runners and just the population at large, they were looking up where the replicants lived and where they were located. They would just go kill them. So once the information got wiped, it became very hard for people to really find out information about replicants.
Okay. So career-wise, I guess I'm wondering, like, career-wise, whether we feel like this, the blade running has been going on a while now. So like, whether we feel like we must have hunted down most of them by now, or whether we feel like we really just don't have a clue, or
as an organization, you would know that you're nowhere near hunting them all down.
Okay.
But it's hard for you to tell the location because they've become so like they've kind of like disappeared into society.
Sure. Okay, cool.
And there's different generations of replicants. So like the basic ones are really easy to tell. So they're probably like killed off because they're easy to like spot. But the higher, the more advanced generations, they're more like human. So it's harder to kind of distinguish them.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Now, I like that. I like the way you guys are filling in all the details of stuff because it makes like.
It's really cool.
I think it's really cool how we can go back and forth and I can play off of what you guys are giving me.
No, that's fun. I mean, I like pop culture riddles, like sliding in pieces of things. Like that's just fun. So
yeah.
This is a
You
good.
guys are coming up with some awesome stuff too. It's cool.
Well, and I just appreciate you giving us the latitude to do that because, that's certainly the way I like to run my games, as you guys know. But, like, it's hard for me sometimes to switch off DM mode. So so I like it when as a player, I can add those little details,
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Great. So let's see. Cory, you back yet? He may be the last one we're waiting for, and then we'll pick it up again. I think the Blade Runner universe is cooler than I ever thought once I found out that 2 universes are actually in the same universe, the Blade Runner and the Alien universe.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That is really, really cool.
Because you could really do a lot with it as far as, like, even what we're doing now, which is kind of neat,
Right.
Oh man, I mean, I love Cyberpunk. I hope you know that. I'm like, this is some altered carbon shit about to happen up in here, and it's freaking me out.
I need to watch that.
Altered Carbon is good. Yeah,
it is good. It's like, I don't know. It's fun. Like Blade Runner and the new one too. Like they're both very dark and grim and sort of like
Yeah.
it's sort of even like slow moving in a way, which
Right.
is, you know, it's much more like of those sort of noir
They're
detective
super
kind
noir.
of
Definitely, definitely
where
very noir.
Altered Carbon, I think the book reads a little bit more like that. The series isn't quite as like that. It's
Well,
it's
yeah,
a
but
little
I
less
gotta say,
noir.
I think that's partially. I kind of got to roll my eyes at Netflix. Like, not that you have to keep, like, if it, yeah, like that's a super big theme, noir.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep with that 100%. But at the same time, I feel like Netflix always puts
Yep.
this like same spin on all their sci-fi.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's sort of like this Black Mirror kind of thing, like where they try to like emulate Black Mirror and everything they do, and they never quite pull it off. And I would rather they just do it the way it was originally written than this sort of like hybrid Black Mirror version of everything, which kind of irritates me. Like, I love Altered Carbon, but after watching Blade Runner, I could see where they were trying to go with that, and then decided to kind of get a little bit fancy with it. And I was like, nah, shouldn't have done that.
I need to finish Blade Runner. I actually fell asleep watching it.
The original or the new one?
The new one.
Yeah.
I made it, you know, even the original one's a little sleepy, right? It's very quiet until things finally start happening.
Yeah.
But I struggled with the second one, first of all, with all the echoey sound in that big, you know, when they're meeting with that dude. So I didn't catch a lot of it, and I think that was part of it. And then it was quiet, and then I think I started it really late. So I need to just start over.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You have to watch the end. It's so
and
good.
forget about popcorn, because between the echoing and the popcorn, I couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll jump right back into it here. David, you're now in the elevator with him after the dossier has been downloaded to Dish's little pad there, and you guys go down to the floors. It opens up to the grand foyer of the building, and David says, "Well, I hope to see you back soon successfully. Mr. Weyland would be most pleased at your accomplishment, which we do not doubt your required skill sets." And he kind of like nods at each one of you. "Is there anything you need before you're on your way?" And he says, "Very well then, I'll take that. Your vehicles." That's okay. Oh, he turns, but I guess if you want to say something to him, you probably could.
She goes like, no, and she's just kind of cursing because like in her head, because she's like, nobody ever asks you if there's anything else they can give you, and when they do, you don't know what to say.
He does turn back and he says, "If you are requiring libations in a meal, you can use the restaurant here. The tab is on Mr. Weyland." And he kind of nods.
25% retainer is in order.
And he says, "You've already signed your contract. I bid you well." And he turns around and he just starts to walk away. The restaurant here, though, is like one of the finest dining establishments in all of LA. So that is a plus for you guys. If you want to like meet there and like go over the dossier, you're more than welcome to.
I could eat.
Dish's stomach rumbles. She rubs her stomach. Yeah. Let's bring the files and take a look and get some food.
So here's what I'm gonna do. If you guys go in there, I just so like meta play right here. You guys can discuss your plan, look at the dossier. I'm gonna play this as if you want to know what's in the dossier, you're gonna ask your datapad a question like a Siri, and it's gonna respond to you. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, just so you understand how to get the information. It's going to be coming from the datapad as like.
Perfect.
So you walk into the restaurant. This restaurant, like a very dark setting, like not You know, like those romantic restaurants, but sometimes a little bit too dark. Like you just wish it was a little bit brighter. Like that's how very low candle, very rough oak like walls, like a steakhouse almost, but it's glossed wood, so it's very shiny. There's white table settings with the candles on each table and a flower. Very fine waiting staff, and the maitre d', he walks up and says, "Oh yes, it seems that you are very expected. Mr. Weyland said the best table if you requested it. We have it one right this way." And he kind of like half bows to you, and he walks you over to this half circle booth, and he says, "If you need anything, we shall take your orders and bring the food right out. The best in all of Los Angeles. You can guarantee yourselves that." And he has any special requests for dietary restrictions or preferred meals? Very well. Happy meals all around. And he walks away. He walks away to the kitchen.
Wait, this is an upscale McDonald's.
It's kind of like Meteor Man, right? Where Taco Bell's like the dining.
Yeah. Sir.
Yes, sir. How may I help you, miss?
I'm a pescatarian, so I don't eat anything that doesn't come from the sea.
Ah, only seafood. Fine, we shall bring you the fish fillet. It will be most delicious.
Sounds wonderful.
He goes away. Yes, miss. What is it now?
Is there any more of that libation, as they called it, that we had before?
And he snaps, "Barkeep! Serve them the best wine and liquors we have." And you see a bartender come over. He brings like a cart to your table, kind of like those avocado carts, but like this has like really top end liquor. And he begins to make you guys drinks as you request them.
I'll have sparkling water with lemon, please.
Yes, of course. And for each of you, and he brings over a bottle. It's like it looks like a fine wine glass. Not glass, sorry, a fine wine bottle, but completely clear. There's no liquid in it, but there's a cork. And he sets one down in front of each of you, and he says, "This is the most fine air you can find, straight from the peaks of Everest. Do enjoy."
I chuckle and look at everybody else and kind of snicker.
Rich people are weird.
Yeah.
I'll say.
So I'll go. What do you guys have in Camila?
I mean,
what are you looking at?
do we have a menu?
You tell me. This menu is. You tell me what's on the menu. Type deal.
Oh, boy. Well, it seems like being in LA, it would be a fine seafood restaurant. If you're talking about fine dining,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So I guess Michiko would be very interested in some good quality salmon and nice greens. That's probably a luxury these days. But simple, clean food is her thing.
Okay. So yeah, the maitre d' says, "Yes, we have the finest salmon shipped from Japan daily off the shores. There's no finer fish. And the greeneries, well, that's grown in the great state of Minnesota. Global warming made it quite fertile for greens."
Sounds lovely. I'll have that.
Excellent. Anyone else? Orders?
Yes. Give me something that's still bleeding. And I've heard of it before, but I've never had one. What is it called? A Cosmopolitan?
Ah, yes, a Cosmo. From the old ancient show Sex in the City. Quite notorious.
And then she looks over. Sorry, I'm forgetting names because it's a one shot. Terrible. She looks over at Camila and says, "Not getting a drink? Are you ill?" And she kind of quirks her eyebrow.
And I would look up, almost startled, as Dish sort of interrupted my reverie here, and I said, "What? No, I'm not ill. Whiskey.
Ah, yes, we have some Scottish whiskey that will do just fine for you, madame."
Great, yes, thank you.
They bring out a nice bottle of whiskey and start pouring it and serve you a whiskey glass. He says, "On the rocks, straight up."
On the rocks.
And they put a crystal clear ice cube in there. All right. Erie, he turns to you and says, "Last order. Madame, have you decided what you'd like? Besides the filet o fish?"
Yeah, just anything that is just a lot to take in. I'm sorry, sir.
Might I recommend the giant lobster tail? We have a 5-pound special of pure lobster deliciousness.
And her eyes just widen to the size of saucers.
He leans in towards you a little. He says, "And I'll make sure we add extra butter."
Yeah, that would.
Yeah. So, all right, he walks away. Okay, so the data pad's there. What are you guys doing?
So I'm a bit confused, and I know you know. First time I've done this. I've done all kinds of police work, and you guys know. It's well out of.
So sorry. Say that one more time. Sorry, no. Ari, you were talking to them, right?
Yeah.
The group. Okay.
Yeah. So it's. Do we get all the information from your pad?
Yeah. Right. So anyway, she pulls the computer kind of open. It was already laying on her lap, and she just kind of starts swiping through, and says, "Datapad, please present 3 most pertinent facts regarding newest entry."
Okay, and when you say that, having your datapad like plugged into the Yutani system, it's like an app that would pop up, and it would show the Weyland and Yutani Corporation logos and kind of spin around, and then you hear the voice begins to speak to you.
Well, just the Yutani logo, right?
Okay, yeah, just the Yutani logo. Sorry, not the.
They don't merge till 2099.
Yeah, correct. So just the Yutani. You're right. So Yutani logo pops up, and you hear, "Greetings. I am Yutani Prototype Ingot Protocol 529.
Okay.
I hate you so much.
Assessing newest finds. Dossier. Natalie, replicant, Nexus 6 prototype. Female, dark hair, light features, extremely deadly if engaged in combat. However, this prototype does not necessarily know that she is a replicant. Proceed with caution. Location. Potentially Cyber District. Or, and it pauses, checking, Warehouse District. Potential leads could also be Weyland Corp data files. However, they are long been destroyed. Most likely cyber or warehouse district.
Well, we better hope it's the cyber district. I have contacts there. The warehouse district is dangerous. What else? What do we need to know? Protocol ingot.
Affirmative.
Can you please list any known previous contacts of Natalie?
Checking. Yes, one individual. Nahama Tony, located Cyber District. Cybernetics employee. Manufactures cybernetic limbs for medical personnel.
Let's see. Just kind of drumming her fingers on the table, thinking of what to ask.
And I think I would lean in at that point, and I would say, find out if just how good this data pad is. Are we able to access camera footage, face recognition in particular? Perhaps we might be able to find something more concrete.
Good idea. Protocol ingot. Please run a facial recognition scan on the warehouse and cyber districts using Natalie's face as the target.
Scanning. Located 2 areas of interest. Last seen, facial recognition. 85% certainty. Near Nokoto Salmani's shop. Entering and leaving with cybernetic parts for limbs. 4 children. Small. Humanoid size. Checking warehouse district. 95% facial recognition match. Leading into basement of warehouse. With cybernetic limbs for small children. Several times. 4 in last month.
Good call, Camila. Seems as though we have a pickup and drop-off location. Sounds pretty cut and dry.
I know that place. I know that warehouse.
How do you know it?
Michiko, you would know the that name Nokoto Samami, like that does cybernetics for medical personnel. You would know that with being an EMT in the cybernetic district, the cyber district, that this guy produces, like, if limbs get blown up or maimed, he can produce replacement parts, so to speak. Right.
That guy makes some replacements for, medics and stuff. When we're, like out in the field and things get blown up, he makes the stuff that replaces it. So, that's what I used to do. I know it pretty well, actually.
Do you know it, or do you know him personally?
Story point.
Story point. I have definitely met him, and I've been with friends to see him.
Yeah, if you want, use his story point. I'll let you say whatever you want about this guy.
Right. He's a pretty kindly man, and I always got along really well with him. I think I could get us in there, and maybe he could give us some more information or help us hook up with this gal with minimum drama.
Yeah, if we were going to do it without a fight, I would say the cybernetics office is the place to do it. If you have a way in, I say we take it.
So with that, do you guys want to head out to Nakoto Yatami's place in the Cyber District? Is that what I'm
You
hearing?
gotta eat first. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, not yet. I would say I would look to Michiko and I would say, can you send your friend a message? Ask him if he'll be around, if we could come and meet him tonight, if possible.
Sure, that's no problem. So I shoot him off a text.
What does the text say?
Nakoto. Michiko, I need a favor. Are you available tonight?
You get a text back from the chat window.
He's definitely available. And I'm thinking we need what, a couple hours to get to him. So I text back, what time is it now? It's 6 p.m., 7 p.m.
It's like 7 p.m.
7 p.m. So say we'll be there 9:30. And so I text back. We've got until 10, guys. And I go ahead and I text him back that's good. Thank you. Will do.
And Dish turns around and takes the Cosmo from the waiter as he brings the first drinks. And she takes a sip. And she goes, "Oh, we have till 10, you say? Excuse me. Can you bring 2 more of these?"
We are going to need to make a stop down on Broadway, that great chop suey place, the one I like.
The bartender, he whips up 2 Cosmos and he puts them at the table for Dish.
So I type into I find the online ordering system and order the chop suey to be ready.
Nice.
Like 15 minutes before we're going to meet him.
Perfect. And the food comes to the table here and it looks again delicious. What you guys ordered, the dish, you have this big T-bone steak, cooked rare, it's still bloody, with a big side of like a sweet potato, and then the 5-pound lobster tail. It almost looks like a mutated lobster tail. Like it looks like 2 lobster tails kind of merged together, but just a ton of butter, and it's cracked open and peeled for you, so you don't have to do any of that. And Michiko, your Japanese fish comes out, and it looks impeccable. Something that you would definitely get overseas, and you wouldn't see it here in the States. And Camila, your whiskey, the bartender keeps pouring whiskey all night for you there. So,
yeah, and I think anybody who was maybe paying attention would notice that like I barely get through 1 glass of whiskey. I'm just kind of taking everything in, sitting back, brooding, very silent. Not eating
Camila,
anything.
don't you need some food too? Don't pass up a chance like this.
I'm afraid
We need you functional.
Oh, I'll be functional. Don't you worry about that. But I'm afraid I couldn't eat right now.
Any of you worked with Camila before? Dish kind of leans over. She's mostly now she would be looking at Michiko and Ire.
nice.
Yeah, we've worked together a time or 2.
Don't you recognize it? Look how serious she is. Something's going on in there. I haven't picked up on what it is. I'm curious to know when she's going to tell us.
Something that was captivating her. back there, or upstairs, I should say. Maybe she'll spill if we keep her at it long enough.
So towards the end of the, a couple, some time goes by. The maitre d' comes by and says, "Well, I hope the dishes and entrees were exquisite. We have a dessert menu. On the dessert menu, we have monkey brains, as seen in the old famous movie, The Lost Temple of Doom." And you get a spoon. And there's a souvenir cup that we can put this in for you. There's some other desserts. We have a cookie with ice cream, quite delicious. We can substitute the cookie with a brownie if you'd like. And my favorite is fried ice cream.
Michiko's so horrified at the idea of monkey brains that she just pushes what's left of her plate away and says, "No dessert for me, thank you."
Dish says, "Can I substitute the ice cream with the brains? A cookie with brains, for instance."
Yes, I could do a fried monkey brain ice cream for you.
Interesting. No, I'm gonna go with the fried ice cream, thank you. And she slides her dish away.
And I would look up and sort of half-heartedly just be like, "Ice cream."
With a garnish of monkey brains?
No, just ice cream.
Okay, vanilla or chocolate?
I don't care.
Both, it is. Anyone else here? And he goes, "You there?" And he looks at Erie. "Still have room for more?"
No, I'm fine.
"Very well, I shall bring out the desserts, and then you are free to go as you please. The bill has been taken care of. Thank you for your patronage." And he walks away, and several minutes later, the ice creams come out, all the desserts. They're placed at the table. And the cookie is like a cookie that's like just been baked. It's like gooey, and the chocolate chips are like, bubbling almost. It's so fresh. And the ice cream kind of like slowly melting with it. And Camila's ice cream, you have like a half.
You talked me into it.
Half chocolate. Oh, so yeah. So what? You see the cookie?
I'll take one of those after all. She points at the gooey cookie.
And the maitre d', he has his hand behind his back, but there's a tray. He says, "Well, of course, who can resist? I knew you would not be able to." And he has like a cookie ready for you already. Like he kind of knew.
Wild fucks.
And he puts it on the table.
So, Erie seems to be deep in thought after consuming her dinner or lunch or whatever this is. And look Dish and goes, "I know I didn't answer when you asked if I've with the strong silent one over. You know that I haven't. And you also know I've never worked with you or Mish here. Is that a good nickname? Do you like that name, Mish?"
Me?
No, you're not Mr. Miko.
Are you talking to me? I don't answer to anything but Michiko.
Michiko. Beautiful. But you said that she's processing. And she looks at Camila. Are you more not human?
You ask Camila, "Are you more not human than human?"
Yes.
She looks up at you, spoon with some chocolate ice cream pausing in front of her mouth, and she just like gives you this scowl, and she's like, "Is that a serious question?"
Dish almost chokes on her ice cream. I'm sorry, you may have gotten the wrong idea. It was a turn of phrase. I didn't mean she was a Okay, replicant. And then she goes back to eating.
Wonderful. Then what would be the process? Because I believe you're the most experienced out of us.
That's an awful nosy question to ask somebody you just met, isn't it? Are you always that nosy?
I'm a fucking police officer, though.
Well, I don't think one necessarily follows the other there. I've met cops before. They're not all nosy.
Ones that are trying to become a detective, though.
They're typically not terribly presumptuous either.
I'm not sure what by that, but it's fine. I'll just sit here and wait for you.
You look a lot more like a Blade Runner than a police officer to me. But what I meant was, she's thinking about something. There's something on her mind. If I wanted to share more, I would. And then she smiles with her spoon in her mouth, full of fried ice cream.
So you notice that, like, your time's gone by. You guys have been having a good time at the dinner. It's about 9 p.m. now. So action to you still. To see if you guys want to head out. You guys know that if you head out to Chop Suey, you could probably get to the guy's place. So 10 minutes before. They're a little bit on time.
You should probably get a move on, ladies.
Dabs her mouth, kind of cleans herself up.
I think Michiko would have sat on the outer access to the booth. She would have waited until Erie sat down and then wedged her in there. So she gets up and heads out of the room.
I think I would wait until Dish was getting up, and after maybe Erie and Michiko leave, and I would say, Dish, get us some surveillance of this location. I want to know who's there, what's there. I think we need the intelligence.
Camila, I'll get the video. It's not a problem. You just gotta get your head in the game. Last time you looked like this, it was pretty hard to get us out.
She's like, and she starts sort of reaching behind her back and caressing the pommel of her sword, and she says, "Yeah, well, you did some good work back there. Listen." And then she pauses for a minute, and she's looking at you, and you can finally see like some actual emotion on her face, and it's it's not anger, it's not fear. She's looking at you, Dish, very like concerned about how you're going to react to this. And she says, "That man will not be able to help you find your family." Or not find your family, sorry. That man will not be able to help you save. Was it a sister?
Yeah,
not able to help you save your sister.
And Camila, while you're saying that, like in your hush, so you're probably only saying it so that people right there can hear you. Mm-hmm. You do look at the bar, like you glance up and you see something interesting at the bar. You see David. He's like making a drink and he's staring at you guys, like while you're speaking.
Okay.
And so Dish goes to, I think, respond to you, like, brow furrows. Like, why would you say that?
Because men like that take what they want and give up nothing. That is how they become men like that. He will get what he wants. He will dispose of us. It will be another story like this city always tells.
one way or the other, that replicant's the key to getting what we want. I trust your instincts. But let's focus on part A while we work out part B.
And she waits, just doesn't say anything. She's just trying to figure out what to say, and then finally she nods and she says, "Good, fine. When you get the camera footage, send it to my PDA, okay?"
Yes. Understood.
And then I'll take off. I'll just walk. I'm not waiting for anybody at this point. And go collect my bike.
Yeah, so I'm actually, I don't know if this messes anything up, but what I'm thinking here, Anthony, is
you'll find Michiko outside admiring your motorcycles.
Nice.
She's not much for material things, but she's kind of digging those bikes. So she's just kind of, thoughtfully, she's kind of admiring them, and she seems kind of lost in her own head. But
hey, you like that bike, Michiko?
yeah, getting around on my own 2 feet's getting a little old. I wouldn't mind one of those.
Dish is gonna take her keys out of her leather jacket, and she's gonna toss them over to Michiko and say, "I need to do some work on the pad. I'm gonna hop in with Erie. Why don't you ride it over to the spot?"
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
cool.
kind of hands over the helmet too.
You're good people.
Yeah.
And I don't waste any time. I put the helmet on, straddle that bike, and fire it up.
And Dish slaps the back of the car and says, "Erie, there's no problem with that, right? Can I hop in?"
Yeah, let's see here. Have you driven bikes before, Michiko?
I imagine her military background, she'd probably have driven all manner of things.
Okay, then I'm going to make it just one purple, but you could do a piloting.
Okay.
And I'm going to do a setback because this is a specific type of bike that you're probably not used to.
Oh, man. Is that on the... Wait, no, it's down.
So, yeah, your skills should have piloting.
There it is. I want to flip a light side point if I can, or a story point if I can, to upgrade that.
Oh, man. Okay.
Damn, we need
Upgrade. I'll give you the upgrade.
we need to get some of them story points back. We're gonna be screwed.
Yeah, I'm going to make this a hard one. I'm just going to upgrade. Let's see. Upgrade and upgrade.
You already made it hard on me.
There you go.
It's I assume it's raining out there, right?
Yeah, it's raining. Exactly.
But we just had a sunset.
Well, it's raining at night now. It's 9 p.m.
Oh, you're in Washington State, huh?
This is a cyberpunk story. It's always raining.
Yeah,
it's always raining. It's like acid rain with the... All right. Okay.
It like pauses for the sunset.
Oh, look, there she goes. Oh, that's
Look
good.
at that.
Look at that. Wow.
Freedom and wheat, boys.
Yeah. All right. So what do you do with the? Explain. You got a lot of advantage. Explain your driving here. Like.
Okay, so not only do they have no trouble navigating in the rain, maneuvering, but I hit every traffic light perfect. I find the quickest, shortest route, and we get to that. Chop suey bar completely unmolested, smooth as can be. And yeah, and Dish is able to get all of her data entry done in that time because it's such a easy ride.
Chris, do you mind if I sort of piggyback on that?
Not at all.
So I'm thinking maybe what happens is initially you're taking off, you get on the bike or whatever, and then all of a sudden, I think my bike would come right up next to you, right? And I would look over at you, and you were right next to each other, and then I would weave to the right, splitting between traffic, gunning the acceleration just to see if you would follow me.
So we kind of race along, back and forth.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then I think maybe what happens at the very end is like we're like legit street racing, and which is highly illegal. And maybe if you'll allow it, Anthony, maybe like a police drone like flies, you know, kind of comes in, and then
here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use the story point. I'm gonna use the story point here. So as you're doing that, you see Detective Malloy, his
yes,
his sidewinder starts to fly up above you guys. It's like whoop whoop whoop, and he's hey, pull over. You hear like the siren, you know, like the bullhorn kind of blast at you guys.
Yeah, awesome. And then I think maybe what would happen is like maybe Michi would turn for just a minute and look over at me, and she would see me. I would be like flipping him off on my motorcycle, right? And then I think maybe what happens if it's all right with those 3 advantage, Chris, maybe what you do is like you realize, oh shit, that's a cop, and you find like a route to get out of there, and I follow you, and we make it away. If that's all right with everyone.
That's great.
Can I just want to piggyback on that, because I think in the car over with Eri.
What do you guys do when you see this? You guys see the detective pulling up.
Yeah, I'm sure the GM's got something to piggyback on this too. But I'm like over there, I think, and I'm clocking away. I'm looking up the data. I'm pulling up the video files, and I'm trying to save them to different flash drives and so on. And I'm gonna hear the 2 bikes like just obviously at high speeds, and I just like, hey, what is she doing with what? What is she doing with my bike? And then I hear the sirens and everything, and I lean back and I go, oh, not a cop. Oh, what is she doing? And I look over at Erie. Sorry, I keep saying that.
Yeah. And it's the same one that we saw earlier. He's a gem.
Oh, your friend, the hard ass.
I wouldn't really call him my friend.
So
that was sarcasm. Nobody's friend.
Erie, as you're talking about him, he's looking at the 2 motorcycle bikes, and you can see he's glancing around, he's chasing them, he's yelling on the horn. But then you being a cop, like, you know, this part of like the area leading up to the cyber district is kind of like you have to go through like the bad part of town. And you see 2 thugs from the corner of your eye down an alley. They start to fire like weapons. They just take pot shots at the sidewinder, at the police sidewinder. And the cop car, it gets hit, but it's bulletproof. And you see it almost stop in its track, and it turns, and it points like a big floodlight down the alley, and it starts to zoom towards the alley as you see it break off from the motorcycle bike.
Nice.
Well, that was quite...
So you guys were able to make it to the cyber district. I'll move you there now. Here we are. You guys come up to the cyber district, and you were able to start. Your chop suey was ready for pickup using the Yelp app. Order ahead, and you know where your destination is, so you guys can head there if you like.
Sweet.
You said Nakoto is a nice guy, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
How old is he?
like
How old is he?
Older, not real old, but maybe getting close to retirement old, like
Okay.
mid-50s and or maybe late 50s.
Okay.
And he wears glasses. He's kind of short and just has really friendly eyes, and he's kind of wrinkly, and he probably wears a lab coat. Yeah, he just has a warm personality about him.
Okay. Cool. So you got are you going to go to his place of business?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we'll call it what's this called? What's this place called?
what was his name again? It's Nikito?
I'll put it right here in the chat again. Nakoto.
Nakoto's
Yatami.
How about Yatami? I don't know.
Like Yatami Cybertech, something like that.
Yeah. Yatami, Cybertech. That's good as anything else.
Okay. So, if you go up to the door, there's like a little buzzer, because this is kind of like the cyber district's not necessarily the nicest part of town either. Like, yeah, you got a lot of high-end tech here, but it's very well guarded. Almost like in Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive, when you go into like a jewelry store, there's like several layers of security sometimes you have to go through.
Okay. Yeah, and it's not exactly retail shopping, so...
Yeah.
All right, so I hit the buzzer, and I make sure that I'm visible in the camera so that he can see that it's me.
Okay, so you get you hear like the call box kind of like open up and you go, hello? Who's that?
Nakoto, it's Michiko. I'm here with my friends.
All I want to know is, do you have the chop suey?
Yes, sir. I'd never let you down, would I?
That's my girl! And you hear like, boop, boop, and then like the door opens up, and it opens up to where you're, like, you can go inside of his shop. And you see this little guy come down, kind of like portly, and even though he's like in his mid-50s, he looks like extremely aged, probably because like just the toxins in the air, and probably the food has got, a bunch of chemicals. And he's just like, it's been quite some time. I haven't seen you since your EMT days. Hopefully the Blade Runner business is doing well for you.
It's been too long. I'm sorry not to have been to see you sooner.
You used to be my best customer. Oh, those were the days.
Well, I hope I don't need your services in the future, but you know that I will send anyone your way should the need arise.
Good, our jingle. Missing a limb, don't get glim. Come to Yakamoto's tech shop.
I hand him this nice hot sukiyaki that he likes, whatever it was. And I made sure to get him all the little extra things he liked with it, and brought him his favorite, probably brought him some sake or some soju or something to go with that. Okay,
real quick, the information, you wanted to do what exactly with it? Forward it to Camila, is that correct?
So actually what I think I'm going to do is kind of in this cyberpunk future, what I do is I kind of create an isolated file that is encrypted, and I'm going to put the file there, and I'm going to send, what I'd like to do is send the people on the team an encrypted link into the file so that they can view it, but it is blocked from other people that are not linked.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Gotcha. All right, I got Camila on high ground, vantage point. Dish, are you with Michiko?
Yes, I kind of pictured us all behind her, but if not,
yeah.
I am definitely with her.
Okay, and Erie, I'm assuming you're with them?
Absolutely.
Okay. So he Nakoto says, so what can I do for you, my love?
Are you familiar with this Natalie?
Natalie. And he looks up, I guess you're showing him a picture or something?
Yeah. She a regular customer of yours?
Yes, she is quite. In fact, she comes here quite often. She is a consumer of the small cybernetics for children.
What is she, why is she fitting, who are these children that she's outfitting?
That's a good question. I do not ask my customers why they are acquiring limbs, per se. Simply that they want to buy them, and I allow it to happen.
Sure. I know you're not the type to ask personal questions. I thought she might have volunteered it at some point.
You could use a story point here if you want. And she would have.
Yeah.
Okay.
We still have some?
Yep.
Yeah, because you sent some back our way, didn't you? Did somebody just...
Sorry, I'm doing clandestine things.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe somebody hit it because of the timing. There we go. I know sometimes people share their personal information with you, or, let a detail drop here or there, just in conversation. It's how I got to know you, right?
He says, let me check the files. I believe maybe I left a note. Sometimes I keep scrupulous notes on some customers from time to time. And he goes back and he pulls out this joint. He's flipping through the tables. He goes, yes, here, small children parts, body limbs. Yes. And he comes back and he goes, yes, it is true. So from what I gather, she runs some type of orphanage in the warehouse district. Little children who are beaten are sold into slave businesses around here. She rescues them, and as they do with animals in some parts, and she brings them back to good health, replacing their broken limbs that have been mutilated in whatever nefarious business they belong to, or whatever poor working conditions they are forced to labor in.
Wow, that's quite remarkable. How does she pay for this? It can't be inexpensive.
I do not know where she finds her funds. Simply that she is always willing to pay up front. And he says she was here not too long ago, several hours. She bought the last batch of cybernetic.
Okay. Do you know when she might be back? Is it pretty often, or
She
is there any
comes
pattern?
several times a month, no patterns. But I would not worry about waiting for her. It simply comes and goes as she... I wish I could do more for you, but all I know is the information I've gathered and shared with you now.
Does she ever come in with anyone else?
He kind of sits there and he thinks and he ponders. And he says, no, but if I recall, there was one other man who was here some time ago. He asks about her from time to time. Comes usually an hour or so after she leaves. He just watches the shop. He never really buys anything.
Huh, that seems odd. No idea who he is.
No. He has a cybernetic eye that he had bought once from me long ago. And a hearing implant. That's all I know.
I look around the others to see if they have any questions that...
Erie asks what he looks like. He says, he's a young fellow. I'd say in his late 20s, early 30s. White male. His eyes glow with a red beam.
A red beam?
Yes, his cybernetic implant is one that was used in military for targeting purposes.
Huh.
It allows the user to identify a target and pinpoint precision fire a weapon at it.
I do remember seeing that in the field.
Usually used by the sniper corps.
So I look again at the rest of the group. Ladies, have any other questions?
What is she like, this Natalie? Is she ever edgy, nervous?
She comes and goes. I don't ask too many questions of her. She seems quite amicable. She is always rushing out of here. She puts her orders in ahead of time, quickly comes to pick him up and leave. Does not linger. I'm not sure why.
I'm going to lean in. I don't want to say it explicitly, but I'm going to look at Nakoto and say,
Well,
what do you know about her? Do you know? Basically, I'm just going to say, do you know what she really is? But I'm saying it without saying it. So I'm going to say,
Rory, you're breaking up.
Oh,
I heard you're asking. Yeah, you're asking. I get what you're saying to him. He pauses and he looks at you, and you're not sure the impression he's giving
More
you.
of your time. Thank you so much, Nakoto. I'll come back soon and we'll just have dinner together, okay?
And so Michiko interrupts before he can talk, and he kind of like sighs and he goes, yes, thank you for the chop suey. It was a pleasure to see you again.
Well, I appreciate your help, and you take care. You hear?
Will do.
Sir, before we depart, I have one last question.
Yes.
Have you ever made a delivery to her?
No, I cannot afford to leave my shop.
But, okay, so you never have anything delivered to anyone? Like, even by...
Yes, if they request it, but she has not.
And yeah, I'm assuming this is a shop that's discreet and doesn't keep records of anybody's payment history.
No, I do not keep that type of information on my customers.
Very cordial of you, sir.
I apologize.
No reason for an apology. Enjoy your chop suey.
Thank you. I will. It's my favorite.
Can I roll I don't know, whatever would be, like, insight or something like that on it?
Yeah. Let me. That would be perception. Well, what do you want to do? You want to do like perception? What skill are you looking at? Want to use? You tell me, and I'll see what we can make work.
Well, I wanna see if he's.
I would say, perception.
Sure.
Maybe or even discipline could be something that works. But you pick. Let me see here. Don't roll yet. Let me get the dice pool.
Perception. And
Okay, I'm gonna give you a boost.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you a boost, and it's gonna be 2 purple.
Okay. With her background, I would think that she'd have little.
Yeah, exactly. That's why the boost is for your being a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be lying to you.
Okay.
Like he's he's not exhibiting any signs.
Yeah. Well, it was certainly a pleasure gathering the information from. So, and again, enjoy that food.
Thank you. And he continues to eat his food.
Is there anything interesting in the shop?
Bunch of cybernetic parts. Nothing out of the ordinary though. Like just your, different limbs and things like that. Things that can be used to enhance your abilities.
No weapons?
Not in the shop, no. So, as you guys are there, Camila, are you telling anybody where you're...
No, not at the moment. But if you will, I'll wait until they exit the building, and then I'd like to do a quick little narrative thing, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you guys... Michiko, you're done here, right? You kind of like heading out?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And Dish and Area, I'm assuming you guys are following? Okay.
I will be basically between the two of them because I know Gary followed up with a last question, but yeah, I'm really right behind Michiko.
Okay.
And I turn to you and dangle your keys.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take those back, and I'm gonna kind of narrow my eyes and say, "Racing on my bike? Really?"
I'm sorry. It's all Camilla's fault. She brought out the worst in me. I'm sorry, but it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
And I think maybe just as she finishes that sentence, they make it outside the door, and you hear this, as like a bike is peeling out. And I think you would probably see, like in the rain on the street and whatever, this black motorcycle with this, black leather-clad figure on top of it, just and like, pulls a wheelie kind of at high speed, leaving the premises.
Nice. So you guys see Camila just peeling out of there. What are you all doing?
Where the heck is she going without us?
Getting ahead of herself. That's where she's going.
Headed to
I
the
imagine
warehouse.
to the warehouse. Exactly.
Well, I guess we ought to follow her then, huh?
Yeah, no doubt. Stay on my tail. She looks over to Erie. Think you can keep up?
And Erie's already climbed into her, revs the engine a couple times herself. And
So Michiko hops to it and slides into the car before she can take off without.
yeah, no, that's not the case. And she kind of looks her head out the window. I know you're on a bike and all, but I can go places you can't. And she pushes a button on her dashboard, and the car starts to hover.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll say that goes. Okay, well, story point to say that.
Yeah.
It's a sidewinder, too. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll flip it if you want me to.
And Dish will just...
that will be... I'll say...
visor.
Yeah, Eric, if you flip a story point, that'll be definitely...
Yeah, I'll flip it. All right.
Nice. So its car just like starts to hover. Awesome.
It was nice that you get to drive on. And she kind of arcs it up in like kind of at a weird angle and turns it off and flies over the building. And I would think, seeing that y'all gave me a cop, that maybe she has some scanners in this joint.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And she's not scanning for. She's scanning for Camila.
Okay, so you're like doing like a scan. Yeah. Okay, so you got like this data, this like this little computer that like police cars have in them, and I'm assuming you're doing this by like a vehicle registration. That would be intuition.
Yeah. Oh,
and
she absolutely saw, because even at this time, vehicles would still have identification.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly.
And she took down the identification for.
Yep. So you run it through the system, and you could see almost like a GPS system where the Camila's bike is being pinged everywhere that the cameras citywide are capturing it.
Yep.
And you see it's going towards the warehouse district.
Lone Ranger.
Well, at least she's predictable.
Yeah. Well, we can probably beat her there.
Predictably unpredictable.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm not in the car. Sorry, never mind.
You're not in the
Not, though.
So you take off, Erie, towards the warehouse district?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And Dish, you head there too?
Hopping a wheelie.
Okay.
Anthony, can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So do most people have cars that can hover, or would it really be like law enforcement and maybe the ultra wealthy?
It would be, so like in Blade Runner, he had a car that flew, so it's not out of the ordinary that a Blade would have a car that hovers as well.
A Blade Runner, sure, but probably mostly stuck to like law enforcement and those that would, like the average person probably wouldn't be able to afford something like that. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But again, she has an out of use and out of commission.
You're just asking for the general population.
Yeah, well, so what I'm getting at is I'm wondering what kind of potential problem that could cause if
that would give us.
If he's flying around in a technically unregistered vehicle.
Okay. No, he's flying, but he has. Well, I would say that any vehicle you guys have is registered legally. I would say being a Blade Runner.
Yeah.
You all have you're all registered legal.
All right. Yeah, that's a good point. That makes sense. Yeah. Cool. All
right. So yeah. Okay. So, you're taking off towards the warehouse, but the warehouse that you town. So, observation. Yeah. So you guys arrive to the warehouse district. Let's see who rolls. Let's see who gets there first. What I'm going to do is Camila. You were the one who took off there first. So what I want you to do is I always say Ari would be the only person that probably realistically have a chance to catch you because Dish has a fast vehicle too. So let's see. What I'm going to do is do a competitive check, a piloting. So Camila versus Ari. Let's see what that is. Ari, what's your piloting?
So driving is a skill too. I don't know. I mean, it's the same. Yeah. It's the same one, but I don't know if piloting would make more sense for Ari, where we might want to do driving. I don't know.
Yeah, you could use driving. I'm going to put Ari. Ari's 3 purple, so I'm going to do competitive. So since you're the one who took off first, I'm going to have you him. I am going to add a setback because he's flying in the air.
Okay.
So you can roll your piloting your driving.
Right.
It should be the same. You could roll that whenever you're ready.
Okay. Couple of questions. Would it be feasible that I could get a boost dice since I got a head start?
Yep, I'm adding it.
Okay. And then I think I'm going to use a story point to upgrade my check.
I upgraded your check.
All right. So let's see. Perf. Maybe.
Ooh, so you are arriving first.
Yeah. Maybe with that 3 advantage, maybe what I could do is say that in this warehouse district, there is like a warehouse that's giving off like a bunch of electricity, and it starts messing a little bit with the scanners, and so maybe I can park my bike in a spot that would temporarily at least be hidden from the scanners.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's not like she doesn't know where I'm going, but but I specifically want to hide my bike.
Got it. And so then I'm gonna have you do another roll, same thing versus Dish. So you can roll whenever you're ready.
Do you want me to roll or do you want Dish to roll?
No, you, because I'm go ahead.
I actually just put something in there. You can have him roll against me if you want, but for the record, I'm actually not trying to beat them there. I specifically want to park my bike off a little bit in the back after they arrive, and I'm going to spend a point. I could do it right now. I want to say that I have some sort of electronic sensory equipment. I'm thinking some sort of a thing built into like an armband, like that has a small screen on it that can pick up cybernetic signals. The signal that has to be in a cybernetic device to help it correspond with the brain. So it has to be there. It can't not have it.
Understood. Yeah, I like it. So use your story point if you want. As you can see, for everybody in the audience watching, I am using story points myself. I'm not going to divulge what those are for until it becomes necessary. But there is stuff happening behind the scenes. So you show up to the warehouse district. This place is just like, you see rats the size of, soccer balls running around. There's poor people begging on the street, asking for bread, food, anything you have. There seems to be like, you can see thugs down the alleyways, like beating up on people. This is a dangerous part of the city of LA. So not many people come here without expecting trouble. But Dish, you're able to run this scan, and you are able to detect a large quantity of cybernetics coming from a warehouse that seems to be abandoned, and there is a staircase that kind of leads down several, like, into the ground. It looks like it might go down 2 stories, and then there's a door down there. Camila.
Oh, okay. So I see this like on my locator, and then I look up and I see the actual building you're saying. So
yeah,
I see it like on the screen and in real life.
Correct, exactly.
Okay.
Camila, I'm gonna say that you're kind of stealthily, in the warehouse district looking around. You are able to spot Ares' Sidewinder as it flies into the district, and you hear you kind of like. You're able to get a drop on where Dish is at as well. So I'm going to say that you know where they're at, but they may not necessarily know where you're at. So what are you all doing now? Because I have Ari, you're flying in. Are you going to try to find Dish or Camila? Like, what do you guys want to do with your... and you guys have devices where you can call each other up, call or text each other.
Yeah, no, it's she would definitely find a place, obviously not in a bad place to park as well.
Okay.
That's not too far. Let's see something here. Jeez. So we have 1 story point.
You have 1 left, yes.
All right. But I have to use a story point to have a action here.
Yeah, what are you trying to do exactly?
No, she was a cop. Does she have any perps?
Oh, you want to find like a perp? That you like a contact?
Somebody that might know the area.
You're a cop. You know this area. This is your beat. You know the warehouse district.
Yeah, absolutely. And
that won't require a story point for that because that's kind of your character.
Okay, so she would know places where she could park and it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah, and your car has you have like a Blade Runner license plate, so people kind of know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, maybe she gets out of the car and purposely parks in a place where she knows that some people that would know her would maybe watch the car per se, and then gets out and I was gonna say the name. Michiko gets out as well, and she just kind of looks over her shoulder and maybe there's a gangbanger or something like that sitting on the stoop, and she just kind of gives him a nod.
Yeah, you see like a thug-looking guy, and he kind of like nods at you, and he kind of does like what people do with a tip when they want a tip. He kind of does that with his fingers.
Yeah, no, it's what is the currency here? Is it still dollars?
Dollars, yep.
All right. I'm assuming there's coins of some sort that may even have them. She just flick one towards towards the guy.
Okay. So let's resolve something here with Camila. Camila, check to try to get into the warehouse through a vent or window. You got a triumph. You have advantage. You have success. So Camila, I'm going to let you explain what you're doing.
Yep.
Take narrative creativity here.
Okay, so the bike would be parked in an alley. The rain is coming down on the street, and I imagine that there's a little bit of steam coming up off the street as the rain's cold and the street's hot, and it's causing in this alleyway it's sort of condensed, so it's causing this mist, right? And cutting through this mist is this figure, helmet still on, visor up, sword on her back, and I look, I kind of look up and around, right, and then right next to the warehouse, and there's a small 2nd or 3rd story window, and I would take out this little device, and I would it's just this tiny little string, and I would throw it up there, and you would see in midair all of a sudden these 4 prongs or something would pop out, and it would stick into the thing, right? And then I would pop up and clip it onto my belt or something, and almost like Batman style, zzz, right up the side of the building, and I would get up there and, with like a little knife that I would pull out, from a sleeve, cut right around the edges of the window, doing, and kind of prying it open, jimmying it open, pull it open, no sound, thank God. And I kind of peek my head in and I see that there is basically like, because it's a warehouse, right? There's a whole bunch of open space and there's like venting and catwalks that go around the upper level. And so I kind of jump in onto the catwalk stealthily. And I think maybe there's machinery like that's automated, and it's moving and it's doing all this stuff. And yeah. But I think that there's like very little light on because the machines don't need light. And so I'm kind of walking along the catwalk. And as I do so, I will text Dish and I will say, Dish, do you remember the last time? Actually, I'll call Dish. And if Dish answers, I'll say, Dish, you remember our last job? You gave me that USB device that would connect to your data pad remotely, any computer. And if I'd like to use my Triumph for that, if it's all right.
Absolutely. Cool. Yep.
Yes, I recall.
I say, I've plugged in, and I'll find a computer terminal and I'll plug it in and I'll say, I'm in the warehouse. See if you can locate the security system. See if you can find this girl.
Okay, so with the link from inside the warehouse now in my computer system, can I try to access the computers?
Do you want to do like a... I'll let you do a computers check to see if you can bring up the schematics. So it's just going to be... this will be just regular 2 purple versus a computer. I'm going to give you a boost based off the Triumph that Sam had. If that, Sam, would you want to do that?
Yeah, and can I pass him my boost from the advantage?
Yep, that's 2 boosts right there. Absolutely. So you can roll, and I'm going to use a story point to make it an upgraded. Yep. Let's see here. Sorry, re-roll because I did not have my.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I think I did that too soon. I didn't realize.
It's fine. Nope.
Okay.
You can re-roll.
Oh.
All right, a lot of advantage, but a despair. Ooh, okay, so.
Oh, well, I didn't even see that at first.
All right, so the schematics are not like, you hear the data pad come alive. Schematics unavailable, and bad Wi-Fi connection. And you have advantage, but this despair. We'll talk about that. So, what do you want to use all the advantage for? First off.
Okay, so I'd like to use the advantage. Now, I'm not great at spending advantage, so just tell me if anything I say wouldn't fit under that category. But what I think I'd like to do is I would like to use the advantage to contact the other companions, and tell them. Well, we can cover that in a second. But I'm going to reach out to them, and I think, could we say that the advantage means that I have certain, basically the connection is bad, but I have certain ability to access the system, and I can at least glean where a data point entry would be. If I wanted to go and hook up directly, I would know where to go. Could we say that?
Yeah, so there's like on the first floor of the warehouse. So this is a 3-story. Camila's on the 3rd story. But again, even though it's stories tall inside the building itself, it's mainly open space. So you could see from like the top straight to the bottom. But you do know on the 1st floor, there is an office that probably has like an input into like a network or something like that. That you could probably download the schematics from that computer system or the network itself.
Okay, so am I still on the phone with Camila?
Yep.
So I'm going to say, shit. The connection's all screwy. I'm not going to be able to do this remotely. Let me reach out to the other two, tell them to meet me at the warehouse. I see an access point on the first floor. If I can get to that, they should be able to get us what we need.
And I think maybe like a few seconds before he ended his sentence, he would have heard a click. And yeah, I'm basically, my intention is I'm going to probe further into the warehouse as stealthily as possible and see if I can locate anybody. But I can do that on whatever turn makes sense.
Okay. Ari and Michiko, what do you do?
So I look at Ari. We need to find our way inside the first floor and meet Dish. You're the ex-cop. You must have a slick way of getting in buildings where you don't belong.
And you guys still would have to. You might feel the urge of like calling them if you don't know where they're at. Or yes, that's right. Dish sent a text to you guys. So, Dish, did you send a text that said where you're at?
Yeah, I think so. I think in the text it would have said like it would have been brief. It would have said Camila reached out. And I had already told them exactly where I was, under a lamppost across the street from a boarded up newsstand looking at the warehouse where I suspect Natalie was. So I told them that, but this new one says, Camila reached out to me. I'm heading to warehouse. I'm going to send rough coordinates. I'm not like in there, so I can't like pin my location, but I'm pretty good with computers, so I think I could be able to look at like a map software and be like, okay, it's roughly here. And I would tell them, give them the instructions of where to go, and then I would say, meet me there if you can.
So you guys' phones ring, Ari and Michiko, and it has that text.
So I text her back, yeah, be right there.
Yeah.
So do you so you guys were able to find, I'm assuming Ari and Michiko, you guys are gonna go to where Dish is hanging out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you guys come up to Dish, the three of you are there. Camila, you're in the warehouse. You're still in the catwalk area looking around. And from your vantage point, you see an old like service elevator. Kind of has like that, almost like that chain link kind of guardrail that comes across those old service elevators. And you hear it coming up from several floors below it. It just like turns on, kind of like, and it's coming up. But I'll kind of fade back over to Erie, Dish, and Michiko. You're outside of the warehouse, but you know where it's at. Are you all heading over there?
Hey there. Yeah.
Hey.
Camila wants security footage, but can't get it from out here. And I kind of point over to the warehouse, but I think that's where she is, and I believe that's where Natalie is. So if we can connect directly, perhaps we could pull this off.
Yeah, let's get inside then and get you set up. Ari, you got a way to get us inside?
Yeah, I can get us inside.
So, yeah, as a cop, I'm imagining you have like the experience of like breaking and entering for
the right reason.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, guys, I don't see us finishing this. Don't take it to.
Oh no, but I just need you to get to the door. You let me do the rest.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so she we've seen what the building looks like, you know, from Dish's, you know, intel, I'm assuming. So, you know, there's a door that is unlit. It's on the backside of the building, maybe in between, and you know, and you know, we go to that door, and what does it look like? What is there a keypad? Is there?
I'm gonna have a skullduggery here. See, I think that's what it's called for this one still. Skullduggery. Yes, if you can do a skullduggery, it's just gonna be, it's a simple lock, 1 purple.
Yeah, she, you know, obviously not thieves' tools, but you know, I mean, she has some, you know, something that she would have had.
Yeah, I'll give you a boost. So I give you 1 purple and a boost. Perfect. You're able to quietly pop the lock, and now here's where I'm gonna do my little thing. So, scene cut to inside, right? The elevator makes its way to the top, and it opens up, and like there's this steam that kind of comes out a little bit from the gears. The door on the first floor on the far end of the warehouse is where Dish, Erie, and Michiko are, and the lock pops open. Camila, you can kind of see them popping the lock and the door opening just a little bit from where you're at. And as like kind of things are in slow motion, you see the elevator as it opens. You see Natalie clearly, and you see 2 little children with her. One with his cybernetic left arm, and the other that's a boy with a left arm. And you see a small girl, and they're both about the same age. They're about 8 years old. The small girl, she has a cybernetic right leg. And as they come out of the elevator, she's holding their hands, and she's like looking to her left and right as if she's checking for something. And she moves a few steps out of the elevator, and all of a sudden, Camila, from your vantage point, you see a red dot appear on her forehead. And the screen goes black.
Oh, man.
Oh, you're.
That was cool.
So,
Man.
I hope you guys I hope you guys had fun. I had fun.
Yeah, that was cool. We're gonna finish this, right? At some point.
Really
If you got, hey, this is just, I only said it was a 1-shot because I didn't know, like, well, you know,
Yeah,
well, how about I let Sam finish this up? Sam,
we gotta finish this for sure.
You want to close out the stream, and then we'll post.
Oh,
chat?
yeah, that's right. That would help. Sorry.
We're so immersed, we forgot about the stream.
Yeah.
Totally.
So
Awesome.
Thanks, Sam, for letting me run this. So thank you.
Oh, dude.
Thanks for running it, Anthony.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, Cyberpunk is my jam. So anytime you want to run Cyberpunk, you know, let's do it. But yeah, thank you for running it. Thank you guys, obviously, for playing. And thanks anyone for watching. You know, from time to time, I like to bring other people on to be able to run different games, run different systems, especially the narrative dice system. You know, Genesys obviously being the generic version using that. This was incredibly fun. I think we'll definitely figure out a time to pick this up again. But next week, Sunday, I believe 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here, we're going to continue our Edge of the Empire campaign, and our characters played by Anthony, Cory, and Chris, and also Jose, who is playing the unfortunate rebel partisan Kale, will be getting up to no good and seeing if they can finally make their way off of Nar Shaddaa. Hopefully you guys like this video. If you do, you know, obviously please go ahead and leave some comments, you know, give it a like. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that. And in the meantime, we will see you next week. See you later.